All right, the polls, folks. I'm going to try and lay this out as plainly and succinctly as I can. So we've all been watching the polls, and those of us, you can say insiders, here's the dirty dope on the polls, from an elected representative and our internal polling and seeing how polls operate, knowing what they do. Here's the dirty dirt on polls. And it's really common sense. Let me ask you this question, and I'm going to give you a second to think about it in your brain while you're watching this. What do pollsters do? Answer: they do polls. That's what they do. That is how they earn their money. So each polling company has their strategy. They have their ideas. They've got their focus groups and demographics that they go after to solicit information from. And there are polls out there that are better than others. And there are polls out there that, I won't say manipulate the numbers, but don't understand the demographic they're talking to, and they form the questions in a poor way. And is that done purposely? Sometimes it is, because pollsters get paid to make polls. If you're a pollster and you're a company that's selling poll data to candidates and to media sources and things like that, if you're out of whack, nobody's going to buy your product. But think about this election. We heard for the last 6 months, and the legacy media pushed it, it's neck and neck. We don't know who's going to win. It's 49-49 with that, 3% margin of error, plus or minus 3% margin of error. So we just don't know. We're going to poll this group. And what the pollers tell us, okay, this is the best data we have right now. So you know what? Why don't you buy another poll and we'll target this data and see what we get. Then we'll compile them and we'll put a better, oh, wait a minute. That one came out about the same. So let me sell you this product. This is our primo class A bullshit product right here. We're going to poll everybody in the United States that does XYZ. And we're going to do at least 1,500 in every demographic area. And then we'll compile all the polls and we'll get you an answer. What has that answer been this entire election cycle? Harris up by 3, Harris up by 4, Trump up by 1. Oh, they're neck and neck. What really happened? Trump won, landslide. We took the Senate, took the House. Statewide races are all going red. You got your few blues here and there. It's hard to take out an incumbent. Everybody gets that. But the pollsters sold millions and millions of dollars worth of polls that said it's going to be a toss-up. We knew in Arizona it wasn't going to be a toss-up. I talked about it on this show, got mocked on Twitter, mocked on social media. Oh, Trump's not going to win Arizona. We flipped this state blue. Maricopa County is going to go blue. But we're on the ground. We talk to everyday people about everyday issues. And just going to the game last week, we saw a few Harris signs. We saw a few this, few that, but the majority was Trump. We went to 2 Trump rallies, one in Glendale, one in Prescott, both packed to the gills, people waiting outside. And then we saw the Harris rallies in Arizona. And of course, I didn't go, but we've got people on the ground there, and they have trouble filling a stadium. They were, you've heard this, busing people in, paying people to attend, grabbing homeless off the street. There's your poll right there, folks. The poll is mom and pop that get up every day, send a kid to school, go to work, pay their bills, come home. That is your poll. That's the person that doesn't answer polls. That's the person that doesn't get polls. How many people in this audience right now listening? And I would like for you to respond. Out of everybody that listens to this show and or even just stops by, how many of you have actually been polled by a legitimate poll company where they've called you on the phone and they've asked the questions and you've responded, they've calculated your answers into their big scheme and then sent it to a politician? I've never been polled. I'm going into my second term. I'm 58 years old. You think some point in my life that a polling company would have sent me a poll or maybe called me or said, hey, we're going to poll seated representatives on this issue. I've never been polled. My wife has never been polled. I don't know anybody that said, hey, I got called by a polling company today. We are America. We're Americans that have a voice, and we express that voice in the vote And these pollsters keep saying they're polling people, but where are they polling? They really don't poll rural. They rarely poll rural areas. They poll the population centers. They poll the fringes. And we heard so much about the suburbs. Well, we've talked to suburban white women. They're not going to vote for Trump. They voted for Trump. Oh, we polled suburban black women. They're going to vote for Harris. They voted for Trump. White men for Harris poll. Okay. How big is that? How big do you really think it is? She didn't get as many votes as Biden. I mean, that tells you something right there. They hid Biden for 3 years because he's a cognitive mess. And she underperformed Joe Biden. That's embarrassing. That should be the nail in her political coffin.